Cleveland Torso Murders. Unraveling America's gruesome true crime mystery. Have you ever stood by a river at twilight, its waters dark and still, and felt the weight of secrets it might hold? I remember visiting Cleveland once, walking along the Cuyahoga River, its banks lined with rusted factories, and sensing the city's layered pasta mix of grit, ambition, and unspoken tragedies. In the 1930s, Cleveland was a bustling hub of industry, but it was also the stage for one of America's most gruesome true crime mysteries, the Cleveland Torso Murders. Between 1935 and 1938, a killer stalked the city's underbelly, leaving at least 12 dismembered bodies in its wake, their identities and the murderer's name lost to time. Like Jack the Ripper, this phantom left a trail of fear and questions, cementing the case among history's unsolved murders. Who was this butcher of Cleveland? Why did they kill with such precision? And why did the trail go cold? Tonight, we'll wander the smoky streets of Depression-era Cleveland, trace the killer's grim path, and unravel a historical mystery that haunts American history like a shadow in the fog. Let's begin in September 1935, when Cleveland is a city of steel and struggle, its skyline etched with smokestacks and its streets alive with the clatter of streetcars. The Great Depression has tightened its grip, leaving thousands jobless, their dreams of prosperity fading in breadlines and shantytowns. Kingsbury Run, a ravine slicing through the city's east side, is a no-man's land of hobos, transients, and makeshift camps, its tracks carrying trains to brighter horizons. On September 23rd, two boys playing in the run stumble upon a horrific sight. Two male bodies, decapitated and dismembered, their torsos abandoned in the weeds. The victims, later identified as Edward Andersey, 28, and an unknown man, marked the start of a killing spree that would terrorize Cleveland for years. The bodies, drained of blood and surgically cut, suggest a killer with chilling skill, perhaps medical training. The press dubs the murderer the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run, and the Cleveland Torso Murders begin, a true crime saga that echoes Jack the Ripper's terror in London history, an unsolved case that grips American history with its brutality. Cleveland in the 1930s was a microcosm of America's highs and lows, a Rust Belt giant fueled by steel, automobiles, and railroads. Immigrants Polish, Italian, Irish poured in, building lives in crowded tenements, while the wealthy lived in mansions on Euclid Avenue. But the Depression shattered this balance, pushing many into poverty. Kingsbury Run became a haven for the homeless, its shacks and fires a symbol of despair. The Torso Murders victims were often from this underclass vagrants, sex workers, petty criminals people society overlooked. Edward Andersey, a small-time crook, was known in Cleveland's seedy bars. Florence Palillo, a 28-year-old bartender, lived on the margins. The Lady of the Lake, found in 1934 and later linked to the case, remained nameless. Of the 12 official victims, only 3 were identified, their severed heads and limbs scattered in ditches, rivers, and boxcars. Their killers' precision-clean cuts, chemical preservation set these historical murders apart, making them a true crime puzzle that reflects the era's social fractures, much like the lost voices of ancient Egypt's forgotten souls. To bring this world to life, let's imagine a young man named Thomas, a fictional worker in Cleveland's flats, whose story threads through the murders. Tommy, 16, is a newsboy who hawks papers on Public Square, shouting headlines about the Mad Butcher. He knows Tommy from a bar where Tommy's uncle drinks, remembering his sly grin. When Florence's body is found, Tommy recalls her buying a paper, her smile kind despite her worn coat. As bodies pile up, Tommy's neighborhood buzzes with fear. Mothers lock doors, fathers carry knives. He overhears cops at a diner, frustrated by dead ends, and sees hobos in Kingsbury Run, their eyes wary. Tommy keeps a clipping about the Lady of the Lake, wondering who she was. After the killings stop, he joins a vigil by the Cuyahoga, his paper cap in hand, vowing to honor the forgotten. His tale, though imagined, grounds the Cleveland torso murders terror in the lives of ordinary Clevelanders. A tragedy that echoes true crime's grip on the city's heart, much like Jack the Ripper's shadow over London's history. The investigation, led by Cleveland's public safety director Eliot Ness, was a high-stakes battle against an invisible foe. Ness, famed detective for busting Al Capone, faced his toughest case yet. A killer who left no fingerprints, only bodies carved with surgical skill. The police scoured Kingsbury's run, interviewed hundreds, and studied autopsies showing clean dismemberment and occasional chemical burns, suggesting a lab or morgue. The killer's MO varied. Some victims were beheaded alive, others posthumously, but the torso focus was consistent, earning comparisons to Jack the Ripper's mutilations in London history. The press, led by the Times, fueled panic, printing sketches OFS a butcher in a dark coat. In 1937, Ness burned Kingsbury Run's shantytown to flush out suspects, a move that destroyed hundreds but yielded nothing. False confessions, like that of Frank Dolezal's, a bricklayer arrested in 1938, clogged the case. Dolezal died in jail, likely innocent. The lack of closure made the Cleveland torso murders one of America's unsolved mysteries, a true crime enigma that lingers in American history. Who were the Mad Butchers? The first theory pointed to a skilled professional, likely a doctor or a butcher. The cuts clean, anatomical suggested medical training, per coroner Samuel Gerber's notes. Dr. Francis Sweeney, a surgeon with a history of alcoholism and mental illness, was Ness' prime suspect. Sweeney, a Cleveland doctor, failed lie detector tests and lived near Kingsbury Run, but no hard evidence linked him directly. After Ness questioned him in 1938, Sweeney entered a mental hospital, and the killings stopped, fueling speculation. This theory fits the killer's expertise, yet its circumstantial nature keeps it a case among historical mysteries, much like Jack the Ripper's elusive identity in London history's true crime. A second theory suggested a vengeful predator targeting society's outcasts. The victims, homeless, transient, were easy prey, their deaths unnoticed by authorities. Some linked the murders to similar cases, like the 1920s New Orleans Axemans or Chicago's 1940s killings, hinting at a nomadic butcher. The chemical preservation noted in some bodies suggested a trophy collector, a psychopath like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. This theory, chilling in its anonymity, aligns with the era's transient population, but the lack of connections left it speculative, a true crime puzzle buried in American history's dark corners. A third theory proposed multiple killers, perhaps a copycat or a gang exploiting the butcher's myth. Inconsistencies: some victims shot, others stabbed, suggested different hands. The 1932 Lady in the Lake, predating the official timeline, might be unrelated, per historian John Stark Bellamy-Toos research. Cleveland's underworld, rife with mob activity, could have used the killings to settle scores, masking them as the butcher's work. This theory, while plausible, diluted the killer's legend, yet it reflected the era's lawlessness, a historical mystery akin to Jack the Ripper's debated victim count in London history. The evidence was maddeningly sparse: crime scene bones, blades, but no fingerprints. A 1935 death mask of an unidentified victim, displayed at the Great Lakes Exposition, drew thousands but no leads. Witnesses' accounts varied: a man in a coat, a shadow in an alley. Police detective files cited in James Badal's In the Wake showed Ness' obsession with no breakthrough. Like Jack, the Library of Alexandria's lost scrolls in ancient Egypt, the butcher's name is a void, a true crime enigma that fueled speculation across America's history. The torso murders' legacy lingered in Cleveland's psyche, a wound on its industrial heart. They inspired noir tales like The Torso Murders Mystery and books like The Untouchables by Eliot Ness, cementing the case in true crime lore. In 2023, a podcast by Cleveland Scene revisited Sweeney's role, sparking debates online. The murders exposed Cleveland's neglect, overlooked its poor, much as Jack the Ripper revealed London's slums in London history. Like the ancient Egypt's enigmas, this mystery's allure lied in its unsolved notoria wound in America history that refused to heal. Let's revisit Tommy, our newsboy, to anchor this horror. Years later, we see Tommy running a small newsstand. His eyes creased but sharp, his stories alive. He kept a faded clipping of Florence's Palillo, a reminder of the lost faces. When papers named Sweeney, he hoped for justice, but found only shadows. Tommy told tales to his children of Cleveland's forgotten souls, urging them to honor their stories. His grief, though imagined, tied the Cleveland Torso murders to the lives of everyday lives. A true crime mystery that lingered like the ancient Egypt's lost tales, a historical murder haunting American history. What did the Torso murders teach us? They're more than tales, they were a mirror of neglect, cruelty, and resilience, a call to see the unseen voices. Like Jack the Ripper's victims, they're a loss we mourned, a puzzle we solved with stories. The professional theory spoke to betrayal, the predator theory to fear, the copycat theory to chaos. Each shaped our view of America's history, yet the killer eluded use an unsolved murder that challenged us to question, like London history's mysteries, to honor those lost in time. In 2025, as sleuths probed old files, we stood with Tommy, asking his questions. Who was he? Why did he stop? Will we name the Mad Butcher? Or will Cleveland hold its secrets? The answers mattered less than the seeking truth sought truth. In true crime, the Cleveland's case stood tall, a ghost like the Axemans or Jack the Ripper's, a bridge to a past. Their mystery was a flame we tended, a true crime tale burning bright. As we neared the end, let's held the victims close, like stars in the Cleveland's fog, their stories alive in us. Their tales neighbors, like Tommy's tales, didn't know we'd seek them, yet they hoped time would speak. That hope fueled us question, seek, dream. What truths would you chase? What tales would you tell? The Mad Butcher's gone, but his shadow lingered in every mystery we unraveled. That evening by the river Cuyahoga, when I felt the city's pulse, I paused silent. Now I'd say the point was to keep listening, keep searching, keep remembering. The Cleveland Torso murders were the city's darkest chapter, a tale of loss, yet its spirit endured. What do you think? What did these stories mean to you? Did you feel the pull of true crime, seeking to uncover American history's unsolved mysteries? Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what inspired you, what tales you chase. If you're captivated by true crime's shadows and Cleveland's haunting past, subscribe, hit that bell. Join us for more stories weaving past and present. The Torso murders were ours to carry. Thank you for walking Cleveland's shadows with us. Until next time, keep chasing the secrets lost in time.